Welcome to it. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. We've got an action-packed show lined up for you. We will be getting stuck into all the heavyweight conversations. Anthony Joshua's supposed 2-fight deal with Saudi Arabia. Who should he be fighting? We'll get stuck into that. And off the back of it, we'll talk about our current top 10 heavyweights. Have a think about it yourself. Get stuck in, because we are streaming live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, where you can get stuck into the show. Guests are plenty, including Bob Arum. That's right, he's going to be on the programme, and we're going to have Viddal Riley in the studio in around about 15 minutes from now, so make sure you're with us. 03717 22 33 44. You're listening to talkSPORT's Fight Night. Now then, off the back of a fantastic display from Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final, the Champions League final of boxing when it comes to radio programmes. He's on the radio for you right now, and the king of Europe is the one and only Mr. Gareth Davies. How are you?
Oh, what an intro, thank you. I watched the game with you. I wasn't intending to. We came in early, mapped out the night for our boxing fans listening tonight, and watched that superb game with that brilliant young player, Dubois, who reminds me of Moses Itauma.
Nice.
It reminds me of, can I say it? Alois Jr. I know we got Viddal, his rival, coming in shortly.
You're causing trouble.
I'm going to cause a lot of trouble tonight. It's great to be here. It's always great to be here on a Saturday night. In a quiet week for boxing, but an awful lot going on in the environs, in the suburbs of boxing, rather than in the city centre.
Well, we'll welcome Viddal into the studio in around about 10 minutes from now, so stick around for that. A little later on, our man George from the website is going to be with us, and he's going to be giving us our top 3 stories that have been trending throughout the course of the week, and one of them is about Anthony Joshua. So we'll kind of jump the gun a little bit and get stuck into that first and foremost, because there is conversations about Joshua's return. We know that he's been off with a bit of surgery, which has put his comeback back a little bit off the back of his defeat to Daniel Dubois, and we are being told by his promoter Eddie Hearn that it'll be around about September time where he'll be ready to rock and roll. And by that point there should be a little bit more clarity in the heavyweight division as to what the situation and what the landscape is. Eddie Hearn alludes to the fact that we'll know by then for sure whether Tyson Fury is returning. I'm not so sure on that, but we can get stuck into that conversation. Anthony Joshua, the conversation around him this week is that there is a deal on the table from Saudi Arabia, a 2-fight deal for him. If there is a 2-fight deal on the table for him, I know that Eddie Hearn's been talking about all different aspects of fights that he could have in that period of time. Where do you want to see him go?
Well, I don't want to see him stepping in the ring with Jared Anderson, which was one of the names that came up. I know we'll talk about it a lot tonight. We'll have Bob Arum later on, where Tyson Fury is right now as well. Not to mention Manny Pacquiao, who we promoted for nigh on 20 years. But Anthony Joshua, for me, Carl Froch was very scathing about him this week.
What did he say?
That Joshua's soul for boxing has left him. And you can make that argument, and he made it very well, while dropping in words of respect, as he does. He kind of breaks your nose and gives you a hug and a kiss at the same time, Carl, doesn't he? And he was doing that to Anthony Joshua and saying that, look, this is one way at looking at Anthony Joshua, and this is what Carl was saying, not myself necessarily, although you can make this argument. He looked okay against Otto Wallin. He looked okay against Jermaine Franklin. He looked okay against Francis Ngannou. But what did we really learn about him? We didn't. And what we learnt about him was the difficulties he faced with younger, stronger, more aggressive fighters like Daniel Dubois. And he said, what is there left for him? You know, just go and enjoy your retirement. I still want to see him fight Tyson Fury. But the idea of, yes, a Dillian White fight is possible, but I think that probably the horse has bolted on that one. A fight with Jared Anderson and a fight with Deontay Wilder. I just think Deontay Wilder, I'm just as interested in fighting not as Tyson Fury, not as big an interest as Tyson Fury, but I wouldn't mind seeing him in with him if Deontay Wilder wins in late June.
I haven't heard what Cole said about him, so I won't comment on that. But for me, there's only 2 names on the table. Anthony Joshua's done remarkably well to achieve all the things that he's achieved from where he was to where he is now. I think he's done incredibly well. Obviously, There's been some great matchmaking, and there's been some taking the opportunity when it comes. Charles Martin, for example, and a few things that went his way. But he's done well at the end of the day to be a 2-time unified champion. Sensational stuff. But there's 2 names on the table now. The first one is obviously Tyson Fury, and I'm reluctant to say that because Tyson Fury, as far as I'm concerned, is retired. It's completely up to Tyson Fury whether he's coming back or not. And if he does, that's it. Him, Anthony Joshua, are the fights, and I would imagine that would take up the 2-fight deal that Saudi Arabia are offering. The other name, and this is a little bit, I'm reluctant to say it because I know that he's in a weird position himself right now, is Deontay Wilder, and it's just purely from a nostalgic point of view that I throw that name out there. Anything else, I'm genuinely not interested.
But Wilder's got to knock out Herndon first as well.
Yeah, of course he has. He's got to capture the imagination. He's got to get you excited.
Pull the trigger.
Well,
he's got to pull the trigger.
Yeah, since he went off into the woods, Deontay Wilder, and went on, what is it?
Ayahuasca
retreat and all that type of stuff. He looks a shadow of his former self.
And problems at home as well.
Of course, but he looks a shadow of his former self. He needs to capture the imagination of the fight fan, and he needs to knock somebody out. And if he knocks somebody out, then of course that will capture people's attention, and they will be happy with an Anthony Joshua matchup. But that's it as far as I'm concerned with AJ.
But when you look back, I've rewatched them recently. When you look back at the Joseph Parker performance by Deontay Wilder and the Zhilei Zhang performance, I was there live for both of them. Didn't look good for him at the time, but when I watched them back, he really is struggling to throw his punches. He really is struggling for timing.
The bronze bomber's not there.
Yeah, I agree that it's not there.
The alter ego that he's created in order to become that ferocious guy that knocks out 39 or 40 opponents no longer exists. He needs to go and find that guy. If that guy doesn't exist no more, then I am not interested whatsoever in him fighting Anthony Joshua. The only viable opponent for Anthony Joshua would be Tyson Fury, but he's currently retired right now. So when I look around at other opponents, I mean, people might throw in there, well, let's do another Dillian White. Why? Anthony Joshua took care of him comfortably the first time around, and with all due respect to Dillian White, has he done enough? I mean, I know he's fighting next week. We're going to be there for talkSPORT. Has he done enough in order to get himself back in a mix? And would people be bothered about a fight with Anthony Joshua? I don't know if they would.
Joshua and White is an O2 Arena fight. It's not a big stadium.
I don't
fight.
even think people would be that bothered about it, would they?
No, not really. Not. Well, Dillian's fighting next weekend. I don't know if you saw this. Himself relevant
I saw Eddie Hearn as part of his conversation about potential opponents for Anthony Joshua said that we were in a really good position regarding what happens with Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. No, you're not. No, you're not at all. You're nowhere near that fight. Whatever happens in that, there's no way that Anthony Joshua gets an Alexander Usyk part 3, and there's no way that Anthony Joshua gets another go with Daniel Dubois. He was taken care of quite comfortably. There's other people well ahead of Anthony Joshua when we're talking about world title fights. Kabayel and Parker to name but 2.
We're 7 weeks away today. It was 50 days yesterday to July the 19th and the big Wembley event with Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk for the undisputed title. I'm going to start giving my views on what happens. I've rewatched a lot of boxing this week while it's been quiet, and when you look at the fight between, even though Daniel Dubois had a modicum of success in the first 5 rounds against Alexander Usyk in Roslav.
You think?
Yeah, he did. He was making. No, I had him winning 1 round in the entire fight, the 5th round.
And is that the round where the low blow happened?
When the low blow happened, and you see Usyk drop Dubois with a jab.
Yeah.
In the 8th and stop him in the 9th.
Yeah.
And my view is, even though Daniel Dubois is a more dangerous fighter now, even though he's grown up, even though he's going to put it on him and all those things, and he's in the camp, I still think it's going to be a very hard fight for him against Alexander Usyk.
Well, that's still on the fence. We're going to talk in.
I'm running with him on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, okay. You
Daniel
can give
Dubois.
your opinion then next week.
No, what I mean is, I still think. We forget, a lot of people concentrate on the low blow, or for some people it wasn't a low blow, it was borderline
it's
low
completely, what's the word I'm looking for? It's completely disorientated people's views of that fight. He was well beaten. Completely well beaten.
And he is a different fighter now, and he has grown up.
Only on confidence.
And he has got confidence. And he will go after, he went after Usyk in the first fight.
He will do. He'll go after him. But we're talking about Alexander Usyk.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Because Spencer spent some time with him this week. You're spending time with him this week.
We're going to hear it, aren't we? Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
We'll do a particular section on that a little bit later on the show. We'll talk Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. We are also, as well, have a think about this. Last week, myself and Gareth were talking extensively about Moses Atama. We're big fans of him. Next week, we're going to be obviously at Fabio Wardley's fight, and those two gentlemen are part of this conversation that I want to throw your way. I want you to think about it, and then we'll come back to it in around about half an hour, 45 minutes from now. The current top 10 heavyweights in the world, right? Think about it. Try and map it out yourself. Top 10 heavyweights in the world. Do them from 1 to 10 right now, as you would rank them right now. Who would be your number 1 right through to your number 10? Have a think about it, and we'll come back to it in around about 45 minutes. All right? We'll talk Dubois, we'll talk Usyk, and I've no doubt we'll flirt in with some other bits as well. As we talk heavyweights, I've no doubt we will bring up Moses Atama at some point as well. But next, we are going to be talking to the current British cruiserweight champion, who did extremely well at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and has now set himself up for a fantastic 2025 into 2026. The road is looking very, very good for Viddal Riley. He's in the studio with us next. Welcome to it. It is Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall, Gareth A. Davies alongside me, and we have been joined by a British champion who very kindly has brought in his Lonsdale belt. And every single time I see one of these, they are without any shadow of a doubt the prettiest belt in boxing. Best looking belt in boxing for a man that put on a best looking performance as well at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a couple of weeks back. Viddal Riley, welcome, my man. How are you?
Thank you, man. No, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here again.
I've done that wrong. Viddal Riley, British champion.
Okay.
There you go. How does that sound? That sounds good. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Sounds correct. Sounds correct. Yeah.
Listen, when you're a young boy setting off on these dreams and the path is taking you in all different directions, I'm sure that there is goals in your mind, certain championships that you would like to tick off, whether it be from area championships right up to worlds. This was absolutely part of that plan when you were a young whippersnapper. So what's it like now that you've actually got your hands on one?
No, that feeling was a special feeling. I think you can predict how you feel when you win a belt or when you achieve something. But then actually being in the moment when you achieve it, especially if it's something that you've been working towards your whole life, you're never going to know how you truly feel. So that moment in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which added to the occasion, of course, against an Arsenal fan, of course, and then to achieve a childhood dream, it's just like, yeah, man. But I feel like it's the start of what's to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think me and Gareth have spoken about this in the past. That there was many other paths available to you along this way. So it kind of vindicates all the decisions that you've made, because there was easier paths. You could have gone off and made a ton of cash doing loads of other things.
Yeah.
But you stayed true to yourself. No, man, I want to go down this route. And now that kind of just puts the cherry on top of the cake to prove that you were right.
This was the first piece to me showing everyone that the decision I made was the correct decision. You know, I could have copped out easily, as we know. But that's just not what I'm about. You know, I just know what I want to achieve, and getting this British title just shows everyone, look, you can call me what you want. You can call me social guy, influencer, KSI trainer, whatever you want, but I'm still British champion. And that is the facts, and the belt's here, looking lovely.
It's funny, in the build-up, myself and Spencer Oliver on weigh-in day, had a chat to Chev Clark live on air, and he was a bit unhappy. I'm not trying to kind of dig on him right now, but he was a bit unhappy that I'd said to him, you're really going to have to go in there and put it on Viddal, because it is going to be bull versus a matador. And he didn't like that analogy, and he believed at the time that he was going to outbox you.
Yes.
Are you with me on that? And he really, and then he really didn't, and he really couldn't. I'm not saying you could never have done that, but on the night, he didn't.
That's what happened.
And I know you guys knew each other well, and you come up together. And like you say, there's the Arsenal Tottenham rivalry. For me, is irrelevant. It's a beautiful thing for you in the backdrop, but I thought, by a long, long way, that's the best I've ever seen you box.
Thank you.
I thought. Have you watched it back? Because it was, for me, it wasn't a 7-5. It was close to an 8-4 or a 9-3 in terms of rounds. And I thought your skill levels, and he's a dangerous man, isn't he?
He is.
He's a very dangerous man with gloves on, a very big puncher. But I thought the way you conducted yourself, your elusiveness, your footwork, it was all on display. And I don't think, yes, we saw that a little bit against Mikel Lawal, but we really saw it against Chev. Do you think it's your best performance in a ring on a big night?
I would say it's my best performance because of the level of opposition. Mm-hmm. Have I performed better or more exciting and explosive against a lesser opponent? Yes, but when it comes to the levels of what matters, to be able to dominate a fight at that level and win so convincingly, I have to put that down as my best performance.
Well, it was intelligent, is what it was, because my observations of Chev is that he does his best work maybe on the inside. His feet are good and his hands are good on the inside. I thought your range control was the main thing. To not get carried away, to not get greedy. That must be a very difficult thing to do. You're in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, your fans are there, they're all screaming for a little bit of violence, but to keep calm in the moment and to box, like I said, it's an intelligent performance and just ticks another box on the journey to wherever this is going now.
Yeah, no, like for me, I think the canvas was a big part to play in that fight.
It was slippy, wasn't it? There was a little.
Don't you remember I was running around doing the reporting on it? I went to speak to Mike Goodall, and what happened was, do you know what happened in the end? Did you ever find out?
No, the facts
on the night
it wasn't printed, was it?
What happened? It was printed because they'd wanted the Fatal Fury to the Wolves on it, and there wasn't time. When you paint a canvas, there's more friction,
right.
But when you spray a canvas, it's slippier.
Slippery. So it's like laminate.
Yes, that's right.
And he at the time was going, rip the canvas off, getting up. There was another one underneath it, but that was sprayed as well, so it wouldn't have made any difference.
Right.
But it's a weird
difficult for you. Difficult.
No, but because some guys who had different boots on didn't slip.
Right. So we're gonna blame the boots. But me and Chev were both slipping.
You were. It was an equal slipping surface.
It was something to take into account, because slipping, he can hit me as I slip. It's a knockdown. Do you know what I mean? I go to hit him and I slip, then I'll go and it's just something that you're not thinking about as the fighter, that the canvas is going to be slippery on the biggest fight of your life. Mm-hmm. But when it happens, you find a way.
You've got to deal with it.
You find a way.
With what comes with that is a world ranking now. Obviously, you're just in at 15 with the WBC and the IBF, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
you're just in there now. So therefore, there's obviously going to be questions about what comes next.
Yeah,
I am sure that you have seen a performance last week from Alois Jr.
Yes, I did.
Firstly, what did you make of it? His performance?
Yeah, it was a good performance. I mean, I feel like he had the perfect opponent to look good against. Jameson is a very credible opponent, but someone who's passed when he was most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was the perfect time to face a David Jameson, get a good name on your record, and keep the risk low. And that's what Alois achieved. So he done what he was supposed to. But then, obviously, as we know, as the fight ended, the first name he wanted to mention was mine. Where am I? I'm here. Well, I'm here.
Okay. Well, let's listen. This is what Alois said. I think this is in the immediate aftermath of last weekend's victory over David Jameson.
You want to be active. You want to be out there again. Is there anyone you got your eye on at the moment?
I want all the smoke. Whoever wants it can get it. Viddal wants me, I'm here, baby.
Anyone in particular? Come on.
I said if Viddal wants me, I'm here, baby. If Viddal Riley wants me, I am here. Yep.
Yeah. I fight you in comfortably.
Easy. Lights him out. He will try to run away from me, but I'll cut that ring off. He ain't going nowhere. I'll make sure of it.
Well, that's Alois Jr., obviously off the back of last weekend. I think he's 9 or 10 with the WBA, but more importantly, from my point of view, he holds a Commonwealth Championship there.
Which is nice, right?
Does that appeal to you, obviously, to have a British and Commonwealth unification fight?
That's the thing is, despite him having the Commonwealth title, he's my mandatory. Right? If he's my mandatory, then I have an obligation to fight him. The responsibility of being a champion is to eliminate challengers. If he's the mandatory challenger and he goes on TV and says that's what he wants to do, he's earned the right to fight me. I'm more than willing to fight him. And if it can happen next, let's make it happen next.
Is it better for you to get him now than in a year and a half's time? How dangerous is he?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's now or 18 months' time. If I fight Alois Jr., I defeat Alois Jr.
How do you defeat him?
Well, I mean,
how do you defeat him?
There's this whole thing going around now. There's like a whole challenge of who can cut the ring off. That everyone started this test amongst themselves. You've seen it where everyone's like, "Oh, I'll cut him down. He can't run from me." And it's just like, okay, let's see who can do it. You know, Mikel was supposed to do it. He didn't do it. I had 3 broken ribs. He still couldn't do it. Chev, I respect Chev as a fighter or as a person.
Would Chev beat him as well?
I believe so.
Right, okay.
But this is not about that. This is about me and Alois.
Okay, I'm only teasing the questions out there because it's all interesting.
I came here for one reason.
To talk about yourself.
To talk about Alois going on the TV and trying to get credit for his achievements. At the end of the day, the Commonwealth title is a big achievement.
Yeah.
But less people will know about it if he don't talk about me. Him talking about me allows people to understand who he is. And you know what? He's the mandatory challenger. People should know who he is. So as I have acquired this belt and have a mandatory challenger, if he wants to fight me for the belt, come and fight me for the belt.
Where would that be posited, that fight then? Where would that be placed? Would that need to be its own main event? Is that an arena fight?
You're asking me to step out of my...
Well, no, but what would you like? I'm asking you what you would like.
I would like. I think it's a perfect Riyadh season show. I think it's a perfect fight to be on alleged rematch between Eubank and Ben. You know, I think that would be a nice card to have a British and Commonwealth.
So late September, chief support.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I think that Alois is the right opponent. You know, he's looking explosive and dangerous, and he's promising the world that he can do something that no one's ever done. So come show me.
Have there been any chats in the week in the back rooms or on the phone since he said that, or not, between promoters? Who's promoting you at the moment?
I'm with Boxer.
You're with Boxer.
Yeah.
So that's doable between Ben and George.
Yeah, I feel like this fight makes sense. You know, we've had other fighters making noise to try and get themselves back in the picture, but they simply bring nothing to the table. Now we're talking about someone who's piping up as much as other said individual that has something to also bring to the table and has earned the right. I can't forget the fact that he is my mandatory.
Yeah.
So let's run it.
I like your attitude towards it.
Me too.
Because
excited by it, actually.
Well, listen,
by the fight as well. I'm excited by it.
Oh, listen, on this show, we bang the drum all the time for meritocracy. People, you know, should earn their rights to be able to challenge for certain things.
Yeah.
Alois, I think, has been, you know, he had a bump in his first fight, but he's been super impressive. He's created those viral moments, and he's earned the right. Like you said, he's picked up that Commonwealth Championship, and he's become the mandatory for that. And your rise, to be fair, has been kind of similar. You've earned that right to get the opportunity that you got against Chev. You took the opportunity against Shed, so therefore it's kind of the next one in line. And also, as well as that, I don't know where your head's at with this, but defending that on multiple occasions, you get to keep it.
Yeah, which is always an enticing, as we said, it's a beautiful belt. And it's always an enticing thought that I can win one outright and keep it. Whether that happens or not, I can't think that far ahead.
Of course.
But to have a solid defense of the title and be able to acquire another title in the process, I'm all here for it.
You're also a very good businessman, as Adam mentioned, and as you've mentioned, you've been involved in music, you've been involved with KSI, the biggest influencer in the UK, very involved him in a documentary and training him. You've boxed all around the world. We've known you a long time. I've been on the journey with you, and that you are very patient in how you do things. As a businessman in boxing as well, is there anyone outside Alloys where you'd say, do you know what, I'm not going to do that, I'll have that fight instead? Because that's doable as well, isn't it? Is there anyone out there at the moment?
Well, as I sit here in this moment, no.
Okay.
There isn't. I think me and Alloys is the best business. I'll never sit here and say that the people would never want to see me versus Isaac, because I feel like that's just one of those fights. But when it comes to the current generation, people who have kept up to speed, it's Alloys. So I'm here to keep up to speed.
But that answer matches your career attitude, because we were talking about it before about the other avenues that were available to you, of which you didn't take. You've taken the harder road, you've taken the proper road, you've taken the proper path to where you're at right now. So it would make no sense whatsoever for me to you to answer something different, to say, it's the proper road, it's the mandatory challenge, and that's what I'm going to do.
But also, what I'm trying to head towards as well is there's a guy called Jake Paul in your division.
Oh yes, there is.
Yeah, there's a guy called Jake Paul who
Stop this.
He's got. I don't know, but we're playing. We're playing.
We've got to do it because we've got to get the title.
Remember, he's been around that milieu as well. KSI, Jake Paul. I mean, you could be rivaling KSI to fight Jake Paul at some point. There's a. You know, he's got Zurdo Ramirez on his undercard.
And Dorticos, yeah.
He's fighting, and Dorticos. He's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
At cruiser anyway.
Yeah.
Have you got half an eye on?
I keep more than half an eye on anyone that I feel I could see across the ring.
What do you make of him?
Sorry?
Jake Paul.
I feel like he needs to keep doing what he's doing, and I feel like if he continues on this path and parading traditionally and etc., then if that comes across, it could be one of the biggest fights boxing's ever seen. But I will not dive away from my goal of my traditional accomplishments to go and see him.
Interesting.
If he merges into the path, come see me.
Stick with us. This man's going to stick with us. We're going to talk Spurs, man. They finally got themselves a trophy, so he's got to talk about that, hasn't he? You know what I mean? Don't be going anywhere. You listen to Fight Night.
The Ryder Cup. Unique, euphoric, unanimously loved. Here's the history and some of the key numbers behind the contest that grips the world of golf and beyond like no other. The first edition was held in 1927, where a Great Britain team arrived by boat to play in Massachusetts at the Worcester Country Club. Originally, the competition comprised of 4 foursomes and 8 singles, with 4 balls not introduced until 1963. In the first 22 editions, when it was just Brits and Irish against the US, America only lost 3. So, in 1979, in came the rest of Europe, including the future 5-time Ryder Cup winner, Seve Ballesteros. Since Team Europe was established, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Home advantage is a big deal. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012, and America hasn't won on European soil since '93 at the Belfry. It's accepted that both teams tailor their home courses to suit their own players. For example, in Paris in 2018, Thomas Bjorn asked for the rough to be kept extra long beyond the green to target the big booming American drives. 10 years earlier, Paul Azinger did the opposite, and the Valhalla rough was trimmed right down. On both occasions, the home side were resounding winners. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. In the US, the PGA America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million. But no Ryder Cup revenue has ever gone directly to individual players. That's until now. In 2025, for the first time ever, the US team will each receive a fee for playing in New York. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the sheer thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
It's Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. Viddal Riley kindly is in the studio with us for the next 15 minutes. We've been talking about what could be coming next for him. We'll revisit that in a moment or two. We're also going to talk heavyweights, and we're going to be speaking to Bob Arum at some point in the next couple of hours as well, so make sure you stick with us for that. If you want to get involved, you can. 03717 22 33 44. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. We were just obviously speaking about picking up the Lonsdale belt. Alois Jr. being the right opponent next, with him being the mandatory challenger for that and the Commonwealth title holder. Brilliant. Everybody's on board with it. What type of activity level are you looking at for this year? Are you looking to get out another 1-2 times? What's the situation?
If we're thinking realistically, it'll probably be one more time this year.
Yeah.
If we fight in September, and then you have a bit of time to rest, and you get back.
Got to enjoy your summer, mate, haven't you?
Yeah,
you just become British champion. You got to go and enjoy the summertime.
And you know what? I've been training probably since September last year.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, I thought I was gonna fight earlier than December.
Yes.
So I was training. I end up fighting in December. I get told on December 14th you're fighting Isaac Chamberlain on February the 1st, which means that you're straight back in training again. That fight falls through. Mm-hmm. As soon as that fight falls through, I get pretty much told immediately you're fighting Chef Clark April 26th.
Yeah.
So I've been training since
it's not just the physical aspect of that, it's the mental aspect. The mental aspect
as well, which we can't see, so a lot of people undervalue. But I'll be ready to get back in the ring September, and based on timing, I'd like to be in the ring like January. Okay. You know what I mean?
With all that in mind, because we know where you want to go in the next 18 months to 2 years, but it's short-term focus.
Of course.
First and foremost. As it stands right now, who's the best in your division?
The best fighter overall in the division?
Yeah. Who's the best cruiserweight on the planet, do you think?
We put Opetaya. Opetaya is the Ring Magazine champion. He's looking the most devastating. So we put Opetaya at the top of the division right now.
So if they merge together, they get that fight on with Ramirez, you think Opetaya is the man that comes through on that?
No guarantees in that. That's a different question. as we sit here, he's the best in the division. When he fights Zerdo, I'm not sure what will happen.
Styles might work the other way.
Styles, lefty to lefty. Opetaya has looked great, but he has had a string of opponents that are not matching his level.
Yeah.
So we haven't been able to get a true look at him. World champion against world champion level, you know, and we've seen it a couple of times with Breeders.
Yeah.
But the times where we've seen him looking scary is people who've dared to be great.
Well, he struggled in the last 3 rounds in the second fight with Bradis a little bit.
Well, Bradis is a world operator. Bradis is a world operator.
That's what I mean.
And a very proud man as well. And
Yes.
he's an aging fighter. In that second fight in Riyadh, I thought Bradis, rounds 10, 11 and 12, came on strong, didn't he?
He did.
Started to challenge Jai.
No, he did.
But Jai had done enough. He'd done
enough to win it. But
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
What I'm doing is I'm just colluding with Viddal's point that there are still things to learn about Jai Opetaya, and we're learning them all the time. He's not, you know, we have a tendency to hype up. It's what we do. We hype and promote fighters. We get excited by people, and he's very hyped as well. I mean, he's been brilliant so far.
No, he has.
But he's very hyped. But he's still learning.
Yeah,
he's still on the job.
Buddy Jack's also one of the champions still in this division as well.
He always shocks when he. I always think he's too old and he's going to fade, but he always produces a performance.
He does.
No, shout out to Badu. Every time, like I'd say, I have the closest relationship with him when it comes to the elites of the division. That's where my time that I spent in Vegas. I was alongside.
I can't believe that he was.
You know.
A super middleweight, a 12-stone fighter when I first met him, and in the days when he fought George Groves and he hit George with the right cross all night and beat George Groves when George was very unhappy in the Vegas fight. It was a great night to be there. George very upset, didn't want to speak to us, but see Badu grow and see his longevity.
To still be a champion,
it's quite unbelievable, really.
Listen,
and he's a great mentor, isn't he?
He is, man. He's a genuinely nice person.
Yeah.
Someone who's going to advise you, help you. He is that guy. Like, he genuinely is that guy. I would hope that fight never has to be made.
Well,
so you would, yeah? You take the WBC off him, would you?
Like, you know, we all have.
If you're listening, Badu, he's a really good friend of yours.
We're doing hypotheticals.
No, I really wouldn't want that fight to happen. You know, life does things to you, puts you in certain positions, man. And then, like, if I was placed in a position where it's like the only way you're gonna get a shot at this title is you have to fight Badu, then we have to have that brother to brother talk and work it out. But it's really something that I don't want to happen.
The landscape of the division might look very different in 24 months' time.
Yeah, we can't think this boxing game, man, you can't think too far ahead. Life, you can't think too far ahead. You know, you just got to deal with what you can do right now.
Absolutely. Listen, in the meantime of us talking about your boxing career and obviously doing extremely well and picking up trinkets along the way, your football team has decided to pick up some trinkets along the way as well, man.
Yes.
What's been going on? Did you inspire him? Is that what it was?
You know what? I think that win in the stadium that day.
That's it. You turned over Arsenal.
Extra boost.
So they did the business as well for you.
Right, I'm not a big football fan. I used to be an Arsenal correspondent years ago, so I'm a very lapsed Arsenal fan.
You better keep your...
No, we're in touching distance in here, unfortunately, and you've got a longer reach than me. Now, I hope I'm getting this right, because this is the big question I hear on talkSPORT the whole time. Spurs have won a trophy this season, but kind of through the back door a little bit. Right?
No, it's through the door. It's through the door. That was the door.
They want you to look at the back
door. But 17th in the league, is that right?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Right. So does Ange stay or does Ange go?
If there's a suitable...
That's the question, isn't it?
If there's someone that we believe can do exponentially better, then let's look into it. But
17th in the league. Come on, Viddal.
You wasn't on the high road last week. I was on the high road.
I heard about it. I stayed away because all the roads were shut.
Do you understand the joy that was brought?
Of course,
to the community.
Of course. So should he stay for that then?
I think we should give him until January. I think we should give him a little run. Let him as long as the transfer market is active. Don't keep the same squad. People out, people in. Revamp. Yeah, come on. Like, we haven't won a trophy in 17 years and he brought that to us. So if you're not going to give him a chance, then come on, man.
listen, at the start of the season, people would have said to you, Spurs fans,
Yeah.
you're going to win a European trophy and you're going to qualify for the Champions League. You take that, don't you?
You would take it. You wouldn't take
It doesn't matter where you finish in the league.
Yeah,
It's done.
that's what I mean. You know, teams are working, striving so hard all season to make top 4, to be in the same tournament that we're in, and we finish 17th.
How many games did you lose then? I don't know. How many did you lose?
It's about 22,
21.
wasn't it?
Yeah, is that a record? Is that a record?
22.
I remember. I've heard I've been listening to the shows on talkSPORT.
Why are you winding the boy up?
I'm not. No, I'm not. These are facts.
You used to be an Arsenal correspondent, and you're becoming an Arsenal correspondent
Listen, I was an
tonight.
Arsenal correspondent when Arsene Wenger was the manager. It was years ago.
That's going to make him even more
It was
angry.
a long time ago when they did the double.
When
and all that,
when they had seasons with trophies.
Can I ask you seriously?
Yeah.
How talented were you at football?
Not very talented. No, I was the guy that was like, "Oh, get in goal, man."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Were you selected? Were you standing there with 2 kids at the end?
No. I wasn't
Not
that bad. I had physical. Actually, I had something to offer.
He was athletic. He was
You know what I mean? I was
athletic,
I can
athletic.
see he was a big striker.
Cardio, been boxing since I was 6. Engine trait.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the skill to get picked first.
Do you go every week to the games, or are you
Not every week.
No.
I couldn't do it every week, but I try and go when I can.
He goes to the European ones because they're the ones that they win. go to their ones. They're the ones that put smiles on people's faces. Listen, it's been a great period, obviously, for Spurs.
Come on.
But back to you. September time is what you've got in your head
Yeah.
to get yourself back out there, and fingers crossed that can be the Alloys junior.
I mean, I was literally thinking, guys, let's sit down with the team. Let's work out what we should do next. We got good options.
Have the board ordered it yet, or is it just that he's in number one?
It's not been. We haven't got the new circular yet, so we don't know. But I was literally thinking, okay, what do we do in the position that we're in? And then he goes and knocks out Jameson and wears his Burger King crown, and then he starts talking about, oh, I'm coming for all the belts, I'm coming for everything, and I'm like, oh, you're actually mandatory as well, so come for the
And there's a Commonwealth title belt there as well, which you could add to the collection. You've got the English, British, Commonwealth.
I mean, I'm doing it traditionally.
European then?
I said I'll do it traditionally.
Yeah, you have. You've always said that.
And I've done it traditionally. I haven't skipped anything. I said I'm going to be the best in the country. Then I said I'm going to be the best, on the land, on the island. And then now we're going to proceed to the Commonwealth and then see what happens.
I always say this about you. I've said it to you before when you've come in. You started your career in Tijuana, Mexico. That was 7 years ago. Then you fight in...
Man, you're a young man there. 20 years of age?
Yeah, Tijuana. Okay, then you go to Paradise, MGM Grand Arena, Paradise, Nevada, for your second fight. Then you go to 5 Palm Jumeirah, which we love a bit of Dubai.
Shout out Dubai.
After that, and then you're back in Nevada, and finally in your 5th fight against Wilberforce Shehepa, you're finally fighting in the UK. What an unusual career.
Well, that was all the Mayweather connection, wasn't it? Was it?
Yes.
Mayweather
The start of it was the whole Mayweather connection. And then, once that was done, came back to the UK, started working with Boxer, Sky Sports, and then we're here.
Can you remind the listeners? Can you just remind the listeners how that Mayweather thing came about?
So I went out to Vegas with KSI, as you like to point out, 7 years ago.
Mate, you're only 27 years of age. You're talking to 2 old men in the studio. You're fine. Carry on.
And I wanted to spar. I wanted to spar with Badu before we developed the relationship that we now have. I was like, if I'm going to Vegas, I want to spar the best person in the gym that's near my size. So let's spar with Badu Jack. And then I was like, nah, come on, you're with the YouTube guys. Calm down. I was like, okay, well, I want to spar someone. So I sparred one guy, went well, and then they were like, okay, so you want to spar everyone? Spar with Andrew Tabiti. And at this time, he's the best cruiserweight in the US.
Absolutely he is, yeah.
So they were like, yeah, get in and do some rounds with Andrew. So I done 3 rounds with him. And then after that...
Was it typical Mayweather day whenever he's banging on the ring?
No,
was
it wasn't
a little bit more
Doghouse.
relaxed?
It wasn't Doghouse. It felt like Doghouse in my head.
Okay.
But it wasn't actually that vibe on that day. And then Jeff Mayweather was like, I'll be in your corner for the spar. And then once he saw what he saw, he said,
you can do a bit, mate.
Yeah, he spoke to someone else in the back, and then he said, listen, before this guy leaves the US, talk to him and get him to turn pro. And it worked.
How much, not just from the being in that gym, working with those guys and the elite level sparring that is available there, that you learn. How much did you learn from like the business side of like watching the way that Floyd operates and what have you? Because you're a savvy guy. Like watching the way that you do things, it seems like you've picked up stuff from how he operated.
He doesn't go in there before midnight, does
he? No. Listen, he would train at any time.
Yeah.
Anytime. But no, I think just being around it, I didn't have much interaction with him personally, but just being around the business and seeing how certain things work and how the shows are put together, it is very different to the UK. But it's good to have that knowledge. So when you know, hopefully when I go back over to the US to have some fights, I'm already kind of aware with how it works. Like you're used to the commission, you're used to how certain things work because you've been a part of it already. It's not brand new, you know. So and I've also been there and seen it from the coaching side. So you get exposed to more things being a coach than you do a fighter.
It's a big fight. I mean, we talk about it being, I use the word with respect, the mecca of big fight nights. Vegas, of course, for a long time, and it's kind of changed a little bit recently. Obviously, Top Rank is still there now.
It's still the one, man.
It is the place. It's the place. But what I love about it is, you know, you're going down Dean Martin Drive and you got the Top Rank gym. You go to the Chinatown, and that's where the Mayweather gym is, and there's some lovely Chinese restaurants just around there as well. By the way, everything's got its vibe. There's not Tim Bradley, Sean Porter's gym was up the top by the Stratosphere. There's you wander around there. There's iconic places.
It's a fight city.
But you never run into fighters on the strip. You stay away from the strip, and I always find that fascinating.
No one goes to the strip.
No one goes.
Once you are there for a certain amount of time, the strip's the last thing on your mind.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, listen, thank you very much for coming in, mate.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, mate.
I love what you're doing, and long may it continue. And fingers crossed we get to see you out in September doing your thing, and the dream continues in the direction it's going.
Can you just lift that belt up so we can see it on the show? Look at it.
Lift the belt up so Alois can see it.
Yeah. So Alois can see it.
So Alois can see it.
Because he's not having it, Is that right?
Because he wants it. So see what you want. See what you want.
There you go. Listen, you listen to Fight Night on talkSPORT. Viddal Riley, you'll be able to catch all that on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere, with more to come next. How good was that? Viddal Riley, as eloquent as ever, and as we were saying to him in that conversation, he's doing it the right way. And when fighters are doing it the right way and they have the work ethic that he's got, you can't help but wish them all the best.
Yeah, but he's got an interesting life. I mean, his dad, he's been in boxing all his life, but he likes to step outside. He's got 1 million YouTube followers on his channels. He's been involved with KSI, the influencer in training with him.
Yeah, but he's dedicated to this craft.
No, but he's also he's a guy that thinks outside the box. That's why I was pointing out about his first 4 fights, Mexico and America, because you don't have to go. He's done the traditional route, but you don't have to do the traditional route to get to the traditional end game.
I understand what you mean. Listen, top class. Keep your list coming in, by the way, for the top 10 heavyweights, because we're going to get stuck into that in about 10 minutes' time. We're going to talk Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. Don't know if you caught this earlier on in the week, because Spencer Oliver's been catching up with Daniel Dubois. They had a little bit of a sit-down. They were previewing the upcoming fight, and this is what Daniel had to say.
I don't think nothing about it. It happened, and it's stuff I learned from that experience. But now I'm a different fighter. It's a different new person now, and I'm ready to just get ready for the greatest victory in boxing.
Would it be fair to say that fight, I've said this in many interviews, that fight moulded you as a fighter? I think from that fight, you've gone on from strength to strength.
Yeah, of course. You can see in my last 3 fights, and just as going forward, I feel even stronger and getting things right, and just I'm in my prime of my career now, so it's now or never.
When you saw him go over on the floor, he didn't seem to be he wasn't holding down below, he was holding his stomach more, but you saw his legs trembling.
Yeah.
How do you capitalise on that again if that situation happens again?
Listen, I know what I've got to do differently, and if that happened again, if he gets back up, I'll be ready for him, whether it's fighting him, making it a brawl, whatever we have to do, we'll be ready for it. Never, just lessons learned in that moment.
Lessons learned in that moment, according to Daniel Dubois. That fight coming up in July. First time on British soil that all 4 belts in the heavyweight division will be on the line as he aims to create history and become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Difficult task, because he's fighting the best fighter on the planet in Alexander Usyk, who is, in my opinion, the already undisputed champion. But Dubois gets the opportunity to claim that mantle at Wembley. It's a tough task that he's got ahead of him.
It is. I'm really looking forward to seeing him next Wednesday. We're doing a thing with Brooks, the clothing gear. We're going for a run and and going for a tiny little jog for a photo op.
Okay.
But then a chat. And what I like about him, he is a different fighter. There's no question about it.
Different fighter or a different man?
Well, no, I was going to say, he's a different fighter, but is he a different person? We will find out on the night, in my view, because Usyk provides more problems. He's going to provide more problems for Usyk than he did the first time. I truly believe that. But will he be able to deal with the more complete fighter that Alexander Usyk is now as well? Yes, he's 38. He was 38 in January. Yes, he's got miles on the clock. Was he really beaten up by Tyson Fury? Not really.
No.
He manages a fight very well. His ring generalship is so good. We cannot write off. Daniel Dubois is, I think, probably arguably the most dangerous puncher in the heavyweight division. If you let him get on top of you, if he goes out, I think he's going to go out on his shield. I don't see him beating Alexander Usyk on points.
No.
So therefore, he's got to go after him, rather like he did in the first fight.
He's got to knock him out.
Yeah, he's got to knock him out. That is the key. Dubois has to knock Usyk out. And if you're looking to knock Usyk out, will he weave his magic against you? It's a great prospect. We're going to be there on another major occasion for British boxing. Mm-hmm. It's, like you say, history in the making. You mentioned it earlier. Yeah. There's history in the making. Oh. The first, or the second, rather, undisputed champion on these shores to fight on these shores and hold an undisputed belt. History in the making. If he can do it, he'll be a national hero. Oh,
if he can do it, it's up there with one of the greatest heavyweight victories, I think, of a long, long time. If he can pull this off, you're right to point out. I think he is the most dangerous task that Usyk can face. That's why I've got a lot of admiration for Usyk, because he didn't have to take this. He could have done Parker, he could have done Caballel, he could have done something else. But he decided to do this because he wants to be undisputed once again. So I admire Usyk for taking it. Because Dubois is absolutely the most dangerous task ahead of him. However, let's look at the data of the first fight. Usyk comprehensively won that fight. I think everything's been distorted because of this low blow conversation. If we look at the way that the 8.5 rounds play out, we get stopped in the 9th round as Daniel in the first fight out in Wrocław in Poland. We were there to cover it for talkSPORT. I personally didn't give him a round. A judge gave him 2 rounds, and 2 judges gave him 1 round.
Yeah.
And the round that they gave him was the low blow round. Now, that low blow round is contentious whether he wins it or not, because yes, okay, Usyk is out of action for 3.5, 4 minutes or whatever it is, but he gets up and he puts it on Daniel Dubois, and he wins every exchange from that moment onwards in the fight. Is Daniel technically a different fighter now than he was then? In my opinion, no, he's not. He's still as athletic as ever. He's still got a great jab. He's still got a massive right hand, and his feet are very, very good. And he moves very, very well. What is different is the confidence level. And what Spencer's alluding to there in that conversation is kind of rings true to me a little bit. Whoever convinced Daniel Dubois after that Usyk fight that he nearly had Alexander Usyk deserves as much money that he gets in a pay rise or whatever it may be, because it's not the truth. He didn't nearly have Alexander Usyk. The referee called a moment. Alexander Usyk reacted to the moment. Daniel Dubois didn't react to the moment. Now, of course, that comes with experience. Daniel Dubois has got a lot more experience now, so therefore, hopefully, he can deal with it a little bit better when we come up to the Wembley fight. But he's going to have to do considerably a lot better than he did out in Poland. It's all right having all that power, but if you can't land it, it becomes irrelevant. He's got to be a little bit cuter, and, in my opinion, he's got to hope that Usyk's slowing. He's got to hope that Usyk's getting a little bit older, that he's starting to feel 38 years of age, because I have not seen a boxer like Alexander Usyk. His feet, he will make Dubois work when he doesn't want to work. He will make him, you might even think 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds in, Dubois is doing brilliantly, but it's because Alexander Usyk is making him work at a pace that he doesn't want to work at.
I agree with you in some sense, but I don't fully agree with you. I think I remember distinctly thinking there were some positives. I mean, I've got the scores here. There were some positives to take away from Dubois' performance against Usyk in that first fight, because he was putting him under pressure in the first 5 rounds. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but he wasn't winning the fight.
No, I agree with you. He wasn't winning the rounds. Yeah. Listen, it was a comprehensive victory for Alexander Usyk. He milked it when he went down, which he rightly should do. He took 4.5 minutes.
He uses experience.
He milked it, in my view. He milked it.
Is that using experience?
Yeah, of course it is. Okay. Yeah, it is. But he milked the blow. I thought my instinct was at the time. I did the broadcast with you.
Yep.
My instinct was at the time, he might get. He knows he's ahead here. He might get Dubois disqualified here for this if he can't get up. But Louis Pabon, the referee, wanted the fight to continue. What I mean is, Usyk used his experience, if you want to call it that, to milk the situation. Vastly experienced, 350 amateur fights. He only lost 5 or whatever it was, or 15 out of 350.
He dealt with the moment.
He dealt with them. He's very present. He's a very present fighter. He's a very present man.
Yep.
We've seen the entourage grow while he's become undisputed champion. We've seen him relinquish the belt. We've seen him kind of just do many, many gestures that are worthy of a world champion. He's someone we love.
He's proper.
He's someone we have to love. We have to adore. He's a proper man. He's a proper world champion.
Yeah.
He does things the right way. But I do think listen, I'd see him as the favourite. I still see him as very hard to beat.
He is the favourite.
Yeah. I'm just saying from my point of view, I see him as... Because some people feel that Daniel Dubois has a great chance in this fight.
He has a greater chance than he did the first time around.
I agree. But I think there were things to take away from Daniel Dubois' performance. Like you said, whoever's talking to him psychologically,
has done a great
emotionally,
job,
mentally.
Great job.
Don Charles.
Great job.
He'd been working with him for, 4 weeks?
That was the only fight.
For 4 weeks before that.
Yep.
And he's had 24 months to work with him now.
Yep.
So that's made a huge difference, and it will make a huge difference. He's a great man motivator, is Don Charles. We know that about him. He does very well with his fighters. He's like a father figure, a big brother figure, all those things. I think it's a very exciting fight. I still see Usyk as the dominant man in it. But if Daniel Dubois begins to land heavy blows, to body or head, he could easily win the fight as well.
He has to knock him out. He can't.
I agree.
I don't think he outpoints
him. I don't think he does. stranger things have happened, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't see it. I know you'd be unwise to say, oh, I think Daniel Dubois wins on points. But who knows?
Yeah. Extremely exciting.
Very exciting.
And whenever you get the opportunity to watch Alexander Usyk live, you should take it.
And it's the stadium, and you know, you look at Usyk's career, and it's extraordinary the relationship, Adam, that he has with the UK. I'm just going down over the records. He fights Tony Bellew in Liverpool. He fights Derek Chisora at Wembley Arena. It was Manchester, sorry. Yeah. You're correct. Fights Anthony Joshua at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Yeah. Fights Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in Riyadh season in all those fights. But back again to defend the undisputed title back at Wembley Stadium or at Wembley Stadium. It's a phenomenal story. For British sports fans, we've got the privilege, because of what's happening in Ukraine, because of the occupation, the illegal occupation by the Russians, that we get the opportunity to see this modern great in action.
Buy a ticket
on our shores.
Buy a ticket. Go and watch them.
You finished the sentence for me.
It's set to be a cracker, and from a British point of view as well, it's history. You know, to have all 4 belts on the line in the heavyweight division, the blue ribbon division, with a British fighter that's got a real chance against the best fighter on the planet. Come on, man. What's not to like about it?
Final thing on this. Do we feel that Daniel Dubois has done a better job mentally this time in terms of projecting himself?
He's developing as a man.
Usyk?
He's developing as a man. Everything. He felt like a little bit of an also ran in the build-up to the first one. This one, he feels like he's trying to take control of it. I don't think he is doing, because it's Usyk, but he's having a go. And listen, I'm enjoying the development of Daniel Dubois, and I wish him all the best, man. I really do. It's just that he's fighting a generational great, and it'll be a phenomenal win if he can pull it off. That's coming up in July. Do stick with us. We're going to continue the heavyweight chat, and we're going to get stuck into some of your comments as well. Top 10 heavyweights as it stands right now. Who've you got? We'll do it next. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth A. Davies is alongside me. Let's continue our conversation about heavyweights, shall we? Who are the top 10 heavyweights ranked right now? If you were to create your own top 10 ranking, how would you position it from 1 through to 10? I agree with some of the Ring magazine and some of the sanctioning bodies of where they've positioned some fighters. I think some of the alphabets are absolutely all over the place. I don't really pay too much attention to them. I'm just looking at them now. But I've highlighted my top 10. Have you written down your top 10?
Yeah, but you've cheated because we talked about this in the break because I
haven't cheated.
I've got 11.
Okay.
On the proviso that one of them's retired at the moment.
Well, that is down to you and how you would rank it, because the Ring magazine, as it stands right now, still rank Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to do that,
we don't believe he's retired.
Okay. So if you want to do that, you can do it. Do you want me to give you my 10, and then you can pick the bones out of it? Here we go then. Here are my top 10 in order. So number 1, quite obviously, is the Ukrainian master that is Alexander Usyk. I think most people would agree with that. Okay. Number 2. I haven't got one. And the reason why I haven't got one is because I'm classing Tyson Fury as a retired fighter, and I don't think there is anybody worthy of the 2 spot, so I'm going to put it as vacant. 2 is vacant on my top 10 list.
That's a bit of a red herring.
Number 3, Daniel Dubois, because I think he is the most toughest challenge that Alexander Usyk can face in the heavyweight division. I then have a difficult decision between 4 and 5 because I think you could go either way. But I'm going Parker 4, Kabayel 5.
Yeah.
Number 6, and this is based purely on what he has done in the past. Anthony Joshua at number 6.
Mm-hmm.
My number 7 is Fabio Wardley. I'm putting Fabio Wardley at number 7. Number 8, Moses Itauma. Number 9, Bakidir Jolalov, the double gold medalist from the Olympic Games, 15-0 as a pro. And number 10, clinging on, Zhili Zhang. They are my 10. So there's no place for Wilder, Bakole, Hrgovic, Ajagba or Chisora in my top 10. And obviously, if Tyson Fury decides that he's going again, I will shoehorn him straight back into number 2. Because as it stands right now, retired or not, I still believe he's the second best heavyweight on the planet.
Before I give mine, it's very similar. If you move them all up and Dubois goes to 2, but who are you going to? And they all move up. So your Zhang would be your 9 would be Zhang.
Okay.
So who's your 10?
Ajagba.
Okay.
That would be my 10.
Not Bakole.
No.
No, you're not impressed with him in the last couple of performances.
No, well, he had a draw with Ajagba, didn't he? I thought that he was well dealt with by Joseph Parker, and people will obviously throw at that it's a last-minute situation. The Ajagba one should be absolutely the one where you look at and go, mate, if you were what they tell us that you are, you'd have taken him out. Ajagba, I actually thought Ajagba won the fight. I know it was five rounds apiece, and they gave it as a draw, but Ajagba would be my 10th guy on there, with him being currently... well, I can't remember who he's ranked with actually, but he's ranked 2 and 3 with various sanctioning bodies. So Ajagba would be my 10th if that was the case. But I don't think he's worthy of the top 10. My top 10 as it stands right now, vacant number 2.
Ajagba is 12 with the WBO at the moment, and 3 with the WBC. 3 with the WBC.
Well, some of them sanctioning body rankings are all over the place.
Well, Moses Itauma is ranked 1 with the WBO.
Yep.
I mean...
Yeah,
I'm not saying he couldn't beat Filip Hrgovic, Zhili Zhang, Lawrence Okoli. Oh, that's a good fight. Jared Anderson, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, Murat Gassiev, Vladislav Serenko, and David Adelaide. There's the top 10.
Go on, what's your top 10?
So, I before I go there, I really like your Wardley at 8.
Yeah.
I have got. I'm going to do the same as you to begin with. I'm going to leave Tyson Fury out of it as retired at the moment. Usyk 1, Dubois 2, Parker 3, Kabayel 4, Joshua 5. I'm keeping with Hrgovic because I rate him. Hrgovic 6.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Zhang 8. Sorry, I've 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Joshua at 5, Hrgovic at 6, Zhang at 7, Bakole at 8, Wardley at 9, and Itauma at 10.
Okay.
It's funny. What I do think is very significant is that we both put Moses Talma in the top 10 right now.
I don't think there's any doubt, mate.
That's a headline.
There's
only 5 guys in the division he doesn't beat right now. Probably.
I don't understand why you wouldn't have him in the top 10.
Yeah.
But I know that maybe he hasn't got. Well, he obviously hasn't got the resume
or the experience.
And I know that he's 20 years of age. But people who have watched enough boxing will know what they're watching.
And the sparring stories around in the background aren't lies either. Yeah, but they're not lies; they're facts.
I know that. But the public haven't seen those sparring stories. They're just going off hearsay of what people are telling them, right? You can watch what you're seeing. You can see how light the boy is on his feet. You can see the shot selection. You can see everything, and you think to yourself, this isn't just because you are fighting a guy that is unranked and it's easy for you. Of course, it makes it look a little bit more flashier, but I believe that he can do that to a large percentage of the people that I've just named in that top 10 right now. And in 2 years' time, he's going to be a frightening talent. I'm gobsmacked if you don't have Moses Talma in the top 10 heavyweights in the world right now. And I stand by having Fabio Wardley that high up. I think he's earned that right. And next weekend, I know that he's in a proper fight against Justice Suni. We'll preview it later on in the show. But Fabio Wardley's got that thing that I don't think you can teach people. He's got a massive set of stones. He's up for it.
Wardley against Talma is going to be a big fight, that.
We're in a good position. This is why I get on my high horse about when we're talking about those nostalgia fights. You know, when we were talking earlier about AJ Wilder and AJ Fury. Don't get me wrong, they're sexy, and I think a lot of people from the mainstream would come over for it. But
it's part of the business, so you have to accept.
Of course, and it's exciting. But as I talk about those guys there's some immense matchups. There's some matchups there that if you threw them together, I'd be like, whoa, man, I'm well in on that.
Oh, no, the prospect. You know, we had Viddal Riley in earlier. The idea of him and Alois Jr. going at it, it's just really exciting. There's a spark inside you. When you think about Moses Talma and Fabio Wardley getting in the ring in 2 fights' time, or when you think about Moses Talma getting in with a Bacoli, it just thrills you because you just know that there's a level of anticipation, there's a level of I don't know what's going to happen, there's a level of someone being tested, and this is heavyweight boxing, and I've said it a million times, and I've said it about Usyk and Dubois on July the 19th. I think we'll be there for talkSPORT and whoever else. Get yourself to a big heavyweight title fight in a big state. There is nothing like it in sport, and if you can afford it, get a seat near the ring, because there is nothing like it. And even recently, I've still got the feelings from when we were there at Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. And we're very lucky and very privileged to be in the seat we're in and the work we're doing. And it's an honour and a privilege always. But when you feel all the energy beaming down into one square circle, as we call it, it is unreal, isn't it? It's so... There's a thrill like no other, and your admiration for the people that do it, the protagonists, the way they suck up the energy, the amount they enjoy. You can tell with Viddal, he's made up by what happened in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The energy they suck up and what they take with them as in this ancient gladiatorial sport is just unmissable.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of those play out. Let us know your top 10. Get stuck into the show. Just a little bit of a gear change now, because coming up we've got the FIFA Club World Cup, and our friends at DAZN are going to be broadcasting that tournament this summer. We're giving you the chance to win final tickets. Here's everything that you need to know.
Hi, it's Jim White here. Here at talkSPORT, we're gearing up for the Club World Cup in the United States. And to celebrate, we've got 2 tickets to the final in New York on July the 13th to give away. We'll sort flights, accommodation, and give you $5,000 spending money to spend however you like. 18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, all you have to do to enter is text the word FINAL to 83338 by the 13th of June at 11 p.m. and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or send your name and number by post to Club World Cup Final Prize Draw, P.O. Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on June the 18th.
This is a talkSPORT limited competition run on talkSPORT Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. Let's have a little bit of a gear change. Coming up, we're going to be talking a little bit about MMA. Right now, we're going to be talking about bare knuckle. That's right. There's an event going on this evening. It's live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. We'll give you all the information on that in a moment or two. But the main man from bare knuckle boxing, the CEO, Greg Bloom, very kindly has given up a little bit of time to come and join us ahead of tonight's events. Greg, welcome to the show. How are you, mate? You good?
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much for giving up a little bit of time. We'll talk the show in a minute, right? But what I want to do, I want to kind of open the mind and open the eyes of our audience that are obviously traditionally more boxing fans, the Queensberry little sweet science type of characters. And I want to just pick your brains and ask a few questions about where bare knuckle is in the landscape at the moment, because it feels like every time I open my social media, there seems to be something viral that's going off with your shows. And it feels like, especially with younger demographics, it's really starting to take hold. Talk to me about that boom. Why is it booming? What are the interests? What are people grabbing hold of with bare knuckle boxing?
It's very simple. It's the most exciting new form of combat sport. It's very quick. We have a 90% knockout rate, so our fights are very quick and easy to digest for the younger audience. And it's truly just the most exciting form of combat sport today.
full disclosure from me, because as Greg knows, I do work with them, and I'm thrilled to be working with them this year.
Not as a fighter, I might add. Just to let everybody
if
know
they can find the right opponent, I'm down. You know that.
We're working on a seniors division.
Oh, tremendous, Greg.
Grey haired, long haired.
Pay-per-view money for it, Greg. Make it happen.
No, but as you know, I'm obviously, if I wasn't here tonight, I'd love to be there in Duval, in Jacksonville, for your event. What I've found, and I've had these conversations off air with Adam, is that what it's doing, it's taking away from the traditional long form boxing. As you say, the evenings are very fast. You're keeping them to generally 150 minutes, 180 minutes, and really pushing towards a modern audience. And it feels like the lightning rod is there for change at the moment, and there's a perfect storm for bare knuckle to grow, both here and across the pond in America as well.
Yeah, 100%. People tend to fear change, and they fear what they don't understand. So I always encourage everyone to, whether they could watch it on talkSPORT or come to a live event, whether we're in the UK or the US, come see what we're doing. Because one thing that will stand true is anyone who walks through the doors to watch our events will walk out a fan, and that's been clear.
What are the challenges that you're facing, Greg, when it comes to growth?
It's really similar to what MMA went through about 25 years ago. You know, getting over the stigma of the danger of the sport, getting over the stigma that it's a little more bloody than traditional boxing or MMA. But the truth of the matter is, it's really safer. I won't say safer, but I'll say less dangerous than both boxing and MMA. We've done a long-term medical study. It shows that it's 5 times less injurious than MMA, 4 times less injurious than boxing. It's faster paced. It's more exciting. And so people just really have to understand that this is a real new combat sport and come see it for themselves before they try and make a predisposed, thought about what they think about it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the study that you're referring to is obviously an American university study regarding the medical effects of obviously bare knuckle boxing. And people will look at this, and I've had this argument many, many times with people in the past regarding mixed martial arts. Yes, all right, it looks, the aesthetics, the optics of it make it look a certain way. And for example, with bare knuckle, with your hands not protected, there are more chances of lacerations of the face, so therefore there's going to be more blood and various things like that. So therefore it looks a certain way. But when you actually delve down into the science and you delve down into the actual medical facts that are connected to the damage, and obviously it's still a young sport, so therefore there's no long-term medical information, but the short-term medical information that has been carried out by the university over in America that I've read, that I know that you guys have that we're working on, it does actually back up exactly what you just said there. That because of the way that the sport actually works, very similar to mixed martial arts as well, the impact that the fighters are taking is a lot less compared to what you would be traditionally exposed to in glove Queensberry rules boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is the glove was created to protect the hand, not the face.
Yeah.
And so in bare knuckle boxing, you can't throw as many punches. You have to be a little more suggestive with where you're throwing.
Oh, we've not lost him, have we?
We have, but one of the things that Greg didn't mention there, which is fascinating as well, and that's what I've found both doing commentary with people like Mike Goldberg and Paulie Malignaggi and Claudia Trejos, Big Mo, we're all involved with them, is that the arena is a trigon. It's a very small triangle. That's their modus operandi.
Okay.
So they're allowed...
Greg's back. We'll bring Greg back in there. As you were saying, Greg, if you could just pick that up from where you just left off. We just lost you with a bit of a signal. Obviously, you're over in the States at the moment, mate. Go for it. I'll tell you what, our production team, they told me that he was there, he's not there. But we'll carry on.
No, what I was saying about the trigon, anyway, was that it's a triangular arena and you're allowed to clinch in BKB Extreme, BKB. So there are skill sets to it. There are, for example, at the moment, my critique of it is since they brought that in, because Greg works for the American company that bought out the British company, and they've aligned an American and British company together. They've got a very strong roster of about 250 fighters.
Well, it's the biggest. It's the largest.
But not dissimilar to when I started working on the UFC 20 years ago.
Of course.
Where there were only 180 fighters on the roster, and you got to know all of them over time.
Yeah.
There are lots of ex-boxers in it, Dorian Darch, Dan Chapman and others, different guys who are involved. I mean, there's some brilliant... Tyler Goodjohn, who's one of the great characters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ex-boxers. There's a lot of ex-MMA guys. There's a lot of guys who've done just white-collar boxing or back of the pub boxing, unlicensed boxing. Well, but Greg's back, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was going to say about the Trigon, Greg, one of the things you didn't mention was this uniqueness of the Trigon. And while you weren't there, I was just explaining to Adam about how fascinating it is that you can clinch, and the elision of the American and British companies has made an incredibly strong roster, and a company that has the pillars to grow massively for the future.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is, similar to what you're saying about the UFC 20 years ago, we're one of only 2 companies that has the patent on their ring. The other one being the UFC with the Octagon, us being BKB with the Trigon. And the reason it's so exciting is because of the way the triangle is shaped. It doesn't allow your opponent to get out of the corner. You can't slide out like you can in a ring. You can't circle out like you can in a cage. The only way out is going forward.